All right. Well, today I want to talk about cleaning the house. Now, some of you are probably going, "What? I don't want to talk about that. I don't like to clean the house." Well, we're going to talk about cleaning the house, and we're going to talk about some other stuff too. Because as you probably already know, if you've been following me for a while, when I'm talking about one thing, I'm usually talking about something else. So those of you that are here with me live, hit me up in the comments. Let me know you're here so I can do a shout out to you. And if you have comments or questions as we're going along, then go ahead and put them in. All right, so here we go. So I want to talk a little bit about cleaning your house. Why? Well, because yesterday, actually, I cleaned my house. And it wasn't that it was really, really dirty, but I'm sure that you've probably had this experience where, you just get busy and it kind of gets put on the back burner, right? And so you're going about your day, you're working, you're taking care of the other stuff that you need to. And slowly but surely, you don't notice how the dust and grime and some of the other things actually start to build up in your house, right? And you can take something simple like your toilet, right? So, again, cleaning toilets, that's so fun, right? Woohoo, right? Well, actually, you probably didn't know, but I had a job one time where I cleaned toilets for a living, all right? That was one of the jobs that I had. And toilets are an interesting thing, right? Because again, it's where we kind of flush everything out of our bodies. I'm very grateful for toilets. Okay. But anyway, so that's an example. That's one example in the house, right? Where we don't usually clean the toilet every day. I mean, maybe you have kind of a routine where, you whisk the brush around or something like that every so often, but a lot of times it's a place where we go in, we do our business, we leave. I'm not one to sit on the toilet for very long. I get in, I do my business, I get out, right? Where other people, I know like one guy that I worked for, he loved the bathroom. He would go in and sit and read for like 45 minutes because that was the only place that he had solace from his family, right? So, hey, it's different for everybody. But the point is, right, we're usually not really paying attention to the toilet. And so we use it. And a few days go by, a week goes by. And unless you're the kind of person who kind of has a routine for exactly when you actually do your cleaning, all of a sudden it can be a week, it can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, I don't know, right? Before you actually think, I probably should clean the toilet. And you might notice, you go in to do your business and you notice it's a little bit dirty. And I know for me, a lot of times I pee a lot because I drink a lot, right? So I'm usually kind of going in, doing my business, getting out quick, getting back to work. And so you might kind of notice it's a little bit dirty, but you're like, I'll take care of it later. I'll take care of it later. I'll take care of it later. Okay. And before you know it, it's filthy. It is filthy. Okay. And again, think about all the stuff that comes out of your body. Well, that's what's dirtying everything up, right? That plus, dust and everything else that ends up collecting. And so why I'm bringing this up, right, is yesterday I went through and I did some cleaning in my house. And again, I'm a tidy person, a place for everything and everything in its place. I usually kind of wipe down stuff. But I was surprised to see really how dirty some of the areas were, right? And so, again, since we're talking about that, but we're not talking about that, where are some of the places in your life, maybe where it's gotten a little dirty, right? Some areas where you've kind of neglected and you don't really realize that there's this grime that has built up in your life, right? Because again, the grime builds up over time and we don't actually notice it from day to day usually until we kind of turn around and we look back and it's been a month or two and all of a sudden we're thinking, well, I guess it's a lot dirtier than I thought it was, right? So yesterday I was cleaning my house and kind of thought about this, which is kind of the reason for the live. But it's a big lesson for us as well, right? Because again, as I was cleaning my house, and I want you to realize that everything you do physically, you're also doing something else, right? So every time you wash the dishes, you're not just washing dishes. Every time you clean your toilet, you're not just cleaning your toilet. Every time you sweep up, you're not just sweeping up in the house, okay? Because everything we do physically, we're doing it at other levels as well. And so one of the reasons why I went through and was cleaning up the house yesterday is there were some things that I needed to clean up about myself as well, right? So some things that maybe I had done, that I wanted to be clean of. I didn't want to have that carry over anymore into my life. And so one of the practices or the ways that I do that is I actually focus on it, and I do some other stuff in the background, but as I'm cleaning, I am imagining cleaning myself as well. So as I'm cleaning the dishes, I'm also cleaning myself. As I'm washing the dishes, I am grateful for the dishes that I have. I take care of them. I love them. I thank them that I have it, right? Because again, something simple like having, dishes, you might take for granted. But what if you didn't have any dishes, right? And think about all the things that even a lot of these inanimate objects that we have are going through. And guess what? Everything is energy and everything has energy, right? And so how we treat inanimate objects carries over into how we treat humans or dogs or anything else, right? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so again, I'm not telling you to go clean your house or get in a regular routine to do it, right? That's up to you. But what if you started paying more attention and started doing a little bit of cleaning every single day, right? What would be different in your life if you were able to do that, right? Uh, the grime probably wouldn't build up, right? To where you actually have to get in and do a deep clean. And again, I know some people are like, they like to let it go for a couple of months and then they do a deep clean and then they let it go again, right? But again, right, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so again, if you're messy in your physical life, you're probably messy in your personal life. You're probably messy in your relationships. You probably, again, if you don't treat inanimate objects with respect, you're probably not treating people with respect either, right? And so just a good reminder. It's been on my mind. And again, if you're on, hit me up with a comment, so I can see that you're here, and I'll keep talking a little bit. Because if you don't, I'm probably going to make this one a little bit short today because I have some other things that I need to get done myself, right? But I'm here to serve if people are here and want to talk. But if not, like I said, I've got more cleaning to do. Anyway, so good reminder, right, for us to again just kind of take stock of where we're at and do what we can. If there's things, maybe you've made mistakes in relationships. Maybe you've made some mistakes in the words that you say or how you talk about yourself or how you feel about yourself. Well, why not fix it and move on, right? And again, we don't have to, sackcloth and ashes, tear our clothes open or anything like that. But just kind of put your house in order, right? Because again, when we do those things on a little basis, they end up having a much bigger impact on our whole life, right? Because again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut it short today. And we'll see you on the next video. Again, planning to, excuse me, probably do these live every day. But I know the last couple of days, I was busy, right? One day was Sunday, and that was just a day for me and hanging out with one of my friends. And yesterday I was busy cleaning my house. So, but here I am, today talking about it, right? Hey, well, here, hey, Diane brought in a comment here. Let me read here. Okay. So Diane, right, says I hire a housekeeper, a kid to mow, and help whenever possible. But yes, I procrastinate and have recently heard that dealing with trauma can be fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I freeze, right? And again, that's how a lot of us react. I mean, every one of us kind of reacts differently. But it's interesting that you brought that up, Diane, because I grew up in kind of a working class family, right? Not that we were blue collar per se. We didn't have a lot of money. My father was a contractor. And so we got used to kind of doing everything on our own. We were very self-sufficient. We grew a garden, we canned, we had, our own food that way. I was the kid that got to mow the lawn all the time. So funny little story, right? We had about 2 acres of land that had to be mowed every single week. So guess who got to do it? Me, right? With a little push mower that had like a 20-inch swath. So I would spend like most of the Saturday out there kind of hating it, like right while I'm going along. Complained to my dad, like, hey, you know what? We need to get a riding lawnmower, but my dad wasn't hearing that. He had a young strapping boy and a lawnmower that worked, right? And so that's what I did. Now, what do you think happened immediately when I went off to college? Yeah, my dad bought a riding lawnmower. Okay, which is interesting, right? No, anyway. But Diane, you actually make a good point that I have been thinking about a lot recently as well. Is that there's a lot of things like housekeeping, mowing the lawn, doing things like that. We tend to hire other people to do these things for us, which again is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, a lot of times, especially if you're a business owner, if you're a busy professional, right, you'd rather pay somebody a little bit of money to have that free time for your family or to spend on your business, right? Because again, if you can make $1,000 an hour in your business, why would you, go and do this economically, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But here's what I've been thinking about, right? Is because I told you, growing up, I was, mowing lawns. I actually mowed lawns for a living. I had a job doing that for a while in my life, and I actually enjoy doing some of the work like that. But I spent 15 to 20 years in Los Angeles area, and usually, again, whether you own or you rent your house, usually there's a gardener that comes and takes care of everything. Again, great, right? You don't have to worry about it. Don't have to go out there on a Saturday and sit there and pull the cord to get the lawnmower to go and curse and everything else. But as I'm getting older and I've moved now to Arizona, right, where now I am choosing to do some of those things for myself again, there is so much joy and reflection period and everything else that can go along with some of those things that we might think are mundane, right? You can hire somebody else to do your dishes too, right? You can hire somebody to cook your food. But there's a difference, right? As you're, even last night I was cooking dinner with a friend, and the love, right, that goes into making your own food, the gratitude that you have as you're making it and thinking about the animals, the vegetables, the fruits, whatever it is that are effectively giving up their life to help you have your life, right? And the amount of love that you can actually put into the food. If you're cooking for people that you love and you want them to feel it, right? You can literally feel love coming through in food based on who was the one that made it, right? So why would we want to take away that opportunity to have that spiritual but also not spiritual experience of being able to do that, right? And again, hire somebody to cook your food. It doesn't matter, right? But there's an opportunity for you to use that. Diane says, I hate cooking. All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, right? There are different opportunities like this. Again, another thing people hate doing is washing dishes, right? But one of my friends actually told me some of her most uh, powerful spiritual experiences have happened when she was washing the dishes. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Right? Doing something mundane. And I've talked about that a little bit before in some podcasts and other videos as well. But interesting, huh? So again, I mean, do what you want to do. I am starting to see these things like cleaning my house, taking care of my yard, washing the dishes, cooking, those kinds of things as a very deeply personal and often spiritual experience that I can learn from, that I can grow from as well. Uh, so Diane says, I hate cooking. Well, I do too. It's not that I can't. I personally don't enjoy doing it. But what I do enjoy is being a sous chef and working with somebody while we're cooking together, right? And I like doing dishes. So again, for most of my life, my partner has done the cooking. I have done the dishes. That was a division of labor that worked in our relationship, and we were both happy with it, right? And so again, there's different things that you can do. If you hate mowing the lawn, then please hire somebody to do it, right? Because you don't want to go out there like I was doing as a teenager, like right for 2 hours, because I wasn't in a good emotional space. I wasn't feeling joy, gratitude, love for doing it. I was hating it, right? And I was pissed and I was angry, right? So if there's things like that in your life that you just really don't like to do, then hire somebody to do it. Or maybe one of your friends or partner or somebody else does that instead, right? Or right, you can start looking at those little things a little bit differently. And like I said, start using them as a way. I do it a lot with feeling grateful. Okay. Because again, if I feel like, oh man, I have to clean the house again, that's not the headspace I want to be in, right? I want to be in the headspace of love, joy, gratitude, happiness, those kind of places, right? And it's very easy. It doesn't take much effort at all if we'll actually just twist it a little bit, right? Just a little click. You don't even have to go very far usually to be able to start thinking about how grateful you are. Because again, even when I was a teenager pushing that lawnmower, right? I still had things to be grateful for. We had a self-propelled lawnmower, gas lawnmower, right? So, hey, that's a lot easier to do than not having a self-propelled one, right? And so again, if you haven't experienced the difference between a self-propelled versus a not propelled lawnmower, huge difference, right? The wheels turn themselves, so you don't have to push it as hard. The other, you really have to get behind it with some oomph, right? Same thing, driving now. I mean, again, if you're old enough to remember cars before power steering, right? Think about, the difference between trying to have power steering in your car where you just kind of like do, right? Really easy kind of thing. Versus the old days where you really had to be moving the car pretty much to be able to turn the wheel, because all of the power in turning the car was coming from you turning the car, right? And so again, if you want to go down the route of starting to feel more grateful for certain things, just find something really simple, something easy like that you're grateful for. Man, I really don't like mowing the lawn, but I'm grateful I have a self-propelled lawnmower, right? And then maybe get to the point of, what I really, take it step by step. Maybe, eventually you get to the point where I can't wait until Saturday so I can go out and I can take care of my garden. I can take care of my lawn. I can make the place that I live beautiful, right? Because I'm grateful for what I have, right? I mean, again, when you think about it, if you're, again, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but if you don't appreciate what you have, why would you have any more, right? If you're not grateful for the things that the universe has provided to you, if you don't take care of them, right, and treat them with respect, then, like I said, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And if you're not doing it in that part of your life, I will guarantee you are not treating people and other things with the love and the kindness and the respect and the gratitude that you probably should. And so it's an easy place to start, because guess what? The plates don't talk back. Well, sometimes they do. But we'll get onto that in another video maybe. So anyway, thanks for being on, Diane. Thanks for your comments. Again, it's always nice when people are here. You get more benefit when you're here live, right? Because I can tailor the conversation for things that probably you need to hear by some of the comments and by knowing who's on here. If you watch the video afterwards, great too. You're going to get benefit from it, but I can't tailor it for what you need to hear unless you're here with me live. So if you can, when you see it pop up and, hey, Jason's live, right? Well, if you got time, come over and let's chat for a little while. And I'll just kind of end you on this. And actually, Diane just said this in the comments, but gratitude makes life so much better, right? And that is exactly, what I'm talking about and what I believe too. I've seen it in my own life. The more grateful I have been, the happier I have been. So gratitude makes life so much better. Look around you, see if there's places where you need to clean up your life. Maybe, and again, maybe you need to just clean your house. Maybe everything is fine, emotionally and spiritually and relationship wise. But I'm guessing if you're like most people and you're like me, sometimes we forget to clean the toilet. So just place some awareness on it. Go clean the toilet or whatever else you need to clean up in your life. Because there is a huge amount of satisfaction when you are done doing something. And, for most of my professional life, I have used my brain, right? I learned very early on I could make a lot more money using my brain than I could my hands and my back. And I watched people that I know who just only could use their hands or their back to earn money, how their bodies would end up breaking down. But I'll tell you something, and again, this is another little trick. A lot of times, because we're using our brain for our job, we don't have anything tangible, right, to show for our work. And so sometimes, we get a paycheck, but there's nothing as satisfying as seeing something you've used your hands to create or to clean or to help. There is an amount of joy in that you cannot fully appreciate unless you've experienced it. And how do I know that? Well, I told you my dad was a contractor. And literally, when we would drive around town, you could see him all of a sudden get happy. And he's like, that house over there, I built that. Right. And hey, maybe my dad was just weird, but I was talking to another friend, and her dad was kind of the same way. He was in the paving asphalt business, and it was the same thing. They'd be driving down a road and he's like, yep, our company did this road, right? Or I remember when, again, when I was younger, I was a teenager, I mowed lawns and I worked at a cabinet shop, right? So a shop that actually made cabinets. And for a while, I worked at a place where we made furniture. And I will tell you again, there is a huge amount of job satisfaction at the end of the day to sit there and look at that piece of furniture or look at that cabinet and go, you know what? I made that. And a lot of you probably don't have that satisfaction in your job. I don't have that in the way that I make my money most of the time, right? In fact, I don't even get to hear, I do videos like this, but I don't even know if anybody's listening to it. I don't even know if people are getting benefit from it unless they reach out to me and tell me, right? And so that's usually the way in which I get that feedback. It's like me looking at the cabinet, or me looking at the piece of furniture, or my dad looking at the house, right? And so again, when you do me a favor as well, right? Is if what I'm saying you like what I'm saying, leave me a comment. Tell me what you found helpful, because it helps me too, right? My intention is to help you, and you can help me by providing some comments as well, as we go along. So, another little thing to think about. And again, if you don't have some of that satisfaction from how you make your money, and I said most of us don't these days, doing little things like washing the dishes, like mowing the lawn, or tending to your garden, or sweeping your floor, or cleaning your toilet, right? Those little things can give you that same sense of joy and accomplishment, just like my dad would get when he saw the houses that he built. And that is priceless. It is priceless to be able to have those little moments of joy, right? Like when people reach out to tell me things like, like how whatever I might have said helped them, man, my heart is so full and happy for them. Because again, it's not me, right? I'm just saying what I feel like I'm supposed to say, because I'm saying it for you, right? But anyway, I've gotten a little longer than normal. Thank you, Diane, for helping me get more out today, and for being on with me live. And with that, we'll catch you on the next live video. Have a great rest of your day.